Hello everyone, happy Monday to you. I hope that you had a wonderful weekend. We had a very busy weekend. We were moving our daughter and our son-in-law from a house into an apartment. The house that they were in, the owners were selling it, and so they had to move. And so basically, and there was no housing that's affordable now with everything that's going on, but they did find a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment, and so we got them moved into there. Also, before I start this study, I wanted to ask everyone if you would all submit some prayers on the behalf of our family. We have a very close beloved relative that got some bad news about a heart condition and possible major surgery upcoming. And so I'm asking for prayer for that person and that they would be healed, that the surgeon's hands would be guided, that the anesthesiologist, the nurses, where they would all do their best and he would be taken care of, and that the great physician would bring healing. Also praying for another relative that thinks they may have kidney stones. And if anyone's ever had those, they're incredibly painful. I haven't, but I know relatives that had, and they said it was like one of the worst things ever. So, pray for that person also, that if that is what it is, that basically that would pass soon, because it's really probably affecting a job, and it's a very strenuous outdoor job that they have. So anyways, just asking for those 2 prayer requests, and I really appreciate your prayers. I wanted to do a study today on Ecclesiastes chapter 3, and I'm going to do verses 1 through 14. And it's called A Time for Everything. And so the reason I wanted to do this is because I had an instance happen this weekend that I had to confront a store manager who was literally a bully and awful. As Christians, and the reason I want to say this, because as Christians, maybe a lot of times we may think, I shouldn't say anything. I shouldn't confront. I should let it go. Because the Bible has a lot of verses in it about overlooking an offense, being quick to forgive, turn the other cheek, those kinds of things, which Jesus said. And those are absolutely wonderful things to do. Often, we can pray about a situation and the Lord will handle it and we don't have to do anything. But like in Ecclesiastes, there is a time for everything. And so from my own personal experience, like for example, I've gone to Walmart before, and when they used to have actual checkers pretty much, but now you're having to check everything out, I would be in line maybe 3 people back, and the customers were literally awful to the checker, like completely rude, awful, maybe even racist, you can tell. And so basically I would think, gosh, those poor people, this is just me standing here for 15 to 20 minutes and them dealing with this. And I can't imagine all day long. And you could tell the people were down and so forth. So I would expect sometimes when I would get up to the line that the person might be short with me or not even do a greeting. And so I feel like that is absolutely a perfect time to overlook an offense and to offer kindness and forgiveness. And even better yet, what would change things is I would go first, and I would always say, hi, how are you doing? And start trying to talk to them and be very positive. And a huge amount of the time, probably 90%, their attitudes, that was my cat jumping off the chair over a bird and almost tipping the chair over. But anyways, their attitude would be completely transformed. A lot of them would actually open up to me, and it would just say, thank you for your kindness. I've seen this with waitresses. We've done this before. So I tend to give people the benefit of the doubt, especially in certain service areas and so forth, because I know that customers can be awful sometimes. And I've seen it firsthand. But like this weekend, for example, I went to Designer Shoe Warehouse where I buy all of my shoes, always have. I've been going to this specific store literally for 10 plus years, probably even way longer than that, maybe 15. I'm a platinum member, just meaning that I buy so much stuff there, my husband and I do, that, we just are platinum members. Every time we've ever gone there, no problems with the people, always nice, great service. Hence, that's why we've gone back. But we did notice the last several times that we went, they have a price where the shoes are, and the price is not on the shoes. And so then you have to remember in your mind, okay, these shoes are $59.99 or whatever. And so the last couple times we went there, we would bring the shoes to the counter, and they ask for your reward number, and we would have rewards. So they apply those, like they scan that first, and then they scan the shoes. The last 4 times we've noticed the shoes have all been higher. Every pair is higher than what the price says. And so this time, other times we kind of were like, was that the right price? Like we couldn't quite remember because the price isn't on the shoe. So this time I was buying 1 pair of tennis shoes, and I remembered the price because I'm thinking, I think this is going to happen again. And so it was $59.99. Went up there, and they came up $64.99. And then I said, okay, this is incorrect. I said, actually, the price is $59.99, and this has happened the last 4 times. So if you want, we can quickly walk back there. It was like right near the cash register, and I can show you the price that it's incorrect. And the girl's very pleasant. She said, oh, I can't leave my post, but I'll call my manager. I said, okay, sure. The manager comes up. Absolutely the most rudest upon coming up. Didn't say a word, terrible attitude, mean to the girl. I nicely explained what was going on and said they're $59.99. And she went and looked, and then she came back and she said, well, really rude. It's the pink ones. And there's literally no pink ones even over there. And so I said, well, there is no pink ones over there. And also your sign in that whole saying says $59.99. So you guys have it incorrectly priced then if someone did it, And so basically she continued to be just evil, pretty much just evil, rude, terrible. And so to her, the girl, and to me. So then I ended up, checking her, what she needed, and basically, because I can tell that she was just one of these people that never had been checked. She was allowed to just continue to treat people and be a bully. So then basically it was done, got my shoes, and then I'm like, and she walked off in a snotty attitude with the girl and me. The girl had done nothing. And so I ended up finding her in the store. I went to her in the store, and she kind of had this horrified look on her face, and she was at a little desk, and she moved around the desk like she thought I was going to do something to her, which of course I wasn't. But anyway, so I confronted her and I said, I would like to have your regional director's phone number. And she said, why? How can I help you? I said, you can't. I said, I'm actually turning you in because I've come to this store for 10, 15 years. I've never had a problem here. I always leave wonderful reviews. Everyone's been fine. I said, your bullying of the cashier and me and probably many other people needs to be handled. And I said, because you were totally unacceptable. And so she continued to act like she was refusing to give me the number. I told her I will find the number out regardless of whether you give it to me. And she knew that I meant business. She ended up giving me the number. I don't know if it was the right one or not. I left a message, whatever. But this comes to this scripture. There's a time to deal with issues because there's people that need to be handled or checked where they'll continue to bring misery and abuse on other people if they're not handled. And so you may be the person to do it sometime, but doing it in the right manner. I never cursed at her. I never threatened her. I never did do any physical harm, anything like that. I'm not a nutcase. I was just simply telling her, you're going to get turned in because you were totally abusive. So I will quickly read this scripture because I already know I'm at the 10-minute mark almost, but I'm going to quickly read this scripture. There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under heaven, every activity. A time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather them, a time to embrace and a time to refrain, a time to search and a time to give up, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. What does the worker gain from his toil? I have seen the burden God has laid on men. He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the hearts of men. Yet they cannot fathom what God has done from the beginning to the end. And I know that there is nothing better for men than to be happy and to do good while they live, that everyone may eat and drink and find satisfaction in all his toil, and that is the gift of God. I know that everything God does will endure forever, and nothing can be added to it, and nothing can be taken from it. God does it so that men will revere him. And so I think that's a lovely scripture to show that there's a time for all of it at everything. Not to be violent with people. Obviously, even says time to kill and so forth. So if someone's breaking into your home and they're going to kill your family, there's a time to kill. There's all kinds of references for there's perfect timing for each one of these things. We need to ask God for wisdom and discernment about what the right timing is. And I felt like it was the right time for that woman to be handled, because she is going to go on and continue to bully her staff. I've never seen her there before. I think she's new. And be rude to customers. And a lot of people will not say something. And so I'm hoping that me doing this will make a difference in her treatment of the people and her treatment of the customers. And so that is my point in this video, that Christians don't have to be a doormat. We need to ask God and really use wisdom on seeing if, someone's just had a bad day, and we've witnessed things, and offer them grace and so forth. But also, if we see someone being evil to someone, we need to step in. So I hope that everyone has a great day, and God bless.